Good. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy that you're all here. I mean, it's another cool second SteemFest. I mean, the location here is amazing. I would everybody asked to go a little bit around, enjoy the scenery, enjoy this awesome place in Lisbon. Today, I would like to talk about governance and how governance work in different blockchain ecosystems. And the most important thing is that when we look around in the last couple of years, a lot of things that we learned. The first topic I would like to bring up is, I saw a lot of people here. Who's using an Airbnb in the city? Who's around? Quite a lot of people, right? So you all experienced that. Airbnb had the big dream to say, we are building a platform where people can meet to exchange their apartments. So you just go and sleep on my couch or in my room, you take it over. And at the beginning, it was this really free vision that, yeah, everybody's nice, everybody's cool, and I just share my room, and what could go wrong? Well, the world showed us the last couple of years that with the increasing popularity of Airbnb, there were more and more problems. There were misrepresentations, there were damaged apartments, there were apartments that they didn't really existed. And more problems came with this platform, and at the end, a very light company like Airbnb, they had to start to introduce rules, a governance system, to say, if you do this wrong, then you will lose your reputation. If you want to rent an apartment here in Lisbon, you have to do this, and that. So they had to create a governance in this really decentralized first idea. The next thing, what we saw, and I think most of you are a victim of that, or really is the scaling debate, right? Since 2015, we are talking about how can we make Bitcoin faster? How can we really scale? How can we move forward with the demand? And a lot of different proposals has been introduced. There has been BIP 91, BIP 100, and BIP 101. We debated about that for more than 3 years almost, and we had a couple of different agreements. The first one was the Hong Kong agreement, 2015, December, at the scaling event in Hong Kong. The second one was the New York agreement, where we all agree to do something about the scaling problem. But even today, we have these massive problems, right? We cannot decide how to move forward, and this is our core problem, because Bitcoin has no real good governance system. So what is the problem if we don't have a governance? If we just have this open, free market and people are moving around and there are different players, well, we have different opinions and we have to come together. We have to find a consensus. And the problem is if you cannot find a consensus, you have to split. You have to go separate ways. And that is, of course, brings a lot of problems. And one of the biggest problems is confusion. You are distributing all the different resources. People have different ideas. You split the whole community. And this is a big damage for everybody. And I think what we see with Bitcoin right now, how many Bitcoins do we have? 4? Bitcoin, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin 2X. What's next? Bitcoin Silver, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Unlimited. Another one, plutonium. I mean, like, how many Bitcoins do you want? What is the real one? Yeah, it's a total mess. And that's for businesses, but also for users, because if you go around, a lot of people ask me, what kind of Bitcoin should I buy now? What is the real Bitcoin, right? Like, I want to get in, but what should I buy? Well, there are so many different Bitcoins now, it's quite difficult. And there's no real governance to structure that, to push that forward. And this is a big problem that many blockchain ecosystems have. If you don't have a governance in place, if you have nobody really that is managing and having a right rule set, how do you do that? How do you create continuous product development? How do you streamline marketing that you say, okay, this is the way we want to go? But if there's nobody, if there's no rules, then nothing will happen, right? And the most important thing is, if you look at Bitcoin, I mean, this is a fantastic chart. We probably go to the moon. Somebody checked the Bitcoin price this morning? 7,400? 7,400, yes. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. We are going to the moon. Yeah, I think probably by end of the night, we are at 8,000 or more. It's like, Christmas is going to be fantastic. It's really going to be fun. So the big problem is, what I want to talk about is, let's compare it a little bit. What are the different systems? How is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Steemit, and BitShares doing all that, right? How do they manage governance? And who's actually really in control? With Bitcoin, we have the miners. You can buy mining equipment, and that's where you have your power. You can also distribute your own little power if you have your own rig and join a mining pool, but it's quite settled. I mean, you have big pools, they control the whole market, they get paid for that, and the user doesn't really have anything to say. So it's quite problematic. And with Bitcoin, we have the big debate. I mean, everybody has a stand, everybody has his position, but you cannot really take influence. You cannot really say, like, I just want to support this Bitcoin because it has SegWit and it has a replay protection, and this is the one I want to have. Well, you have to do a lot of work to have any weight in that debate. So that's complicated. You have nothing to say. And the big thing is, do you know who these guys are? Any idea? That is 80% of Bitcoin mining on one couch. That is at the Hong Kong Agreement. All these guys, all these Chinese guys and the white guy on the right, they control Bitcoin. That's the masters, the secret ones. It's quite funny. But with Ethereum, it's quite simple. It's just one, it's Vitalik. I love it. I mean, like, this guy, you just have to love him. He's such a nice guy. So, with Ethereum, we have a similar topic. We have proof of work, and we have the Ethereum Foundation, who is bringing the whole project forward. There's the Enterprise Foundation as well, who's really streamlining businesses and everything. So that is quite cool. You also have mining pools. You need 50% consensus to change Ethereum. But if you look at the distribution of mining power, it's two players. And the big problem is, right now, the big debate that is coming up is Ethereum wants to upgrade. They want to get faster. They want to change their consensus argument from proof of work to proof of stake, to the Casper protocol. And to do that, they introduced the so-called time bomb. Ice Age, they like to call it. But there was a funny thing that happened with the last hard fork. Did anybody notice what happened? Anybody followed? The hard fork, the difficult bomb that they introduced, was introduced to force the whole blockchain community of Ethereum to upgrade to to proof of stake. Yeah, to say, like, we need to change our consensus. And if you don't do it, the difficulty in mining will go so high that the whole blockchain will be completely useless. And they changed in the last hard fork. You can see the dip that just diffused the bomb, that just took it out. They said, like, oh, Casper is not ready. I don't know, maybe 2018. Let's wait with the difficult bomb. We just put it away to the side. You can see it in the chart. Difficulty dropped, and they also reduced the mining reward from 5 to 3 ether. So at the end, who's in control in Ethereum? It's not really the user. And it's horrible if you are a company and you want to build on Ethereum. You don't know where they're going. I mean, they just changed a key element of their blockchain just like that. So like, okay, maybe we're going to go later. So it's quite difficult. With Dash, they have an interesting structure. Is anybody having a master node? Anybody? No master nodes? Well, you would be rich. I mean, like, it's quite crazy with the prices of it. But Dash has two layers. It has a mining part, proof of work, and a proof of stake. And controlled is it really by the miners and by the master nodes and by the core team, even Duffield and the core team of Dash. You can also join a mining pool, but if you see the distribution on the right, I mean, it's quite obvious. The biggest miner here are massive, and they control really the whole blockchain. And they have their own things. And if you look at the distribution, if you want to influence or be active on the Dash ecosystem, you can apply for the treasury. Does anybody know what the treasury is in Dash? You know? So basically, it's a big pot of money, and you can apply to get money out of it. Right? This is each month. It's a lot of money, and the thing is, you need to collect votes. You need to convince the community that you provide value to Dash, and then Dash is going to pay for that. So that's quite cool. But you need to have enough yes votes. So yes minus no is the surplus yes, and then you get the money. You need to collect masternode votes. And the problem with masternodes is, if you want to have one vote in Dash, you need to collect 1,000 Dash and put it in a wallet. How much money is that right now? Any ideas? $280,000 to have one vote. And the problem is you have 4,000 other nodes that all can vote. So it's quite difficult to have any saying in Dash. And they have other problems I really like to talk about, but not enough, not today. I think what is really interesting how Steem is managing the whole thing, because Steem they have guidelines, they have a regulation, and they have the delegated proof of stake that is developed by Daniel Larimer. Steem is governed by the top 20 witnesses. Any witnesses in the room? Great, great. I see a couple. So talk to these guys because they are needing your vote. They need your support, and they are the guys who are controlling the vote chain. The interesting thing is in Steem that if you want to participate, you need to vote for somebody, right? A witness is only as powerful as the votes it collects. And the biggest part is if you want to change something in Steem, you need 66%, so 2/3, to really change consensus. So, pardon? Yes, yes. So you need a lot of power in comparison to all other blockchains. So that's quite interesting. And the distribution in Steem is quite even because there are 20 witnesses, they're all paid, and it's a rally to get in. But everybody can become a witness. You don't have to buy in. You don't have to buy hardware. You don't have to buy 1,000 Steem to become a witness. You just have to promote yourself. And I think that is a beautiful part. Because we see witnesses like him, who's one of the top witnesses in Steem, and he's giving up weekly reports. He's talking about what he's doing. He's talking about his progress, his goals, where he's going to see how Steem is developing. And he has a lot of people who support him because he's doing a good job. And there's a lot of other witnesses here on the side. Good Karma is also around here. And that is, I think, a very democratic way, what I really welcome. Because this means if you do something good, if you provide value to your ecosystem, to your blockchain world, you can participate and you can influence and you can grow the platform without spending a lot of your own money. BitShares, in that way, is a little bit the older brother of Steem. It was also developed by Daniel Larimer. We also have the delegated proof of stake, but we have a couple of more governance features I would like to introduce today. And that is, we have also the witnesses, block producers, but we also have a committee, a board of directors, who is managing and maintaining the fees on the platform. I'm a part of the committee of BitShares, and my job, which is unpaid, I'm not getting paid to be a committee member, is to maintain the correct prices on the whole BitShares platform. So I can manage transaction fees, trading fees, price feed, all the core parameters of the blockchain, even block times. So if I want to rally and say like, okay, 3 seconds per block is pretty long, let's say we should do 2. Then I could rally that. And if I have enough support from the blockchain and from the shareholders, we can update that parameter, which is quite cool. So all this topic of scaling debates with delegated proof of stake systems like Steem and BitShares, we have really cool governance tools to upgrade the blockchain and to upgrade our ecosystem and to be adjustable. I always like to say, you know, a blockchain is like a government. It's like a whole ecosystem. It's a nation, and it needs to be flexible to adjust to world events. If you just stay like a Bitcoin, you will never adopt to whatever happens around you. So this is very problematic. And we have this really nice ecosystem in BitShares where we have committee members who are governing the fees and the block times. We have the witnesses who are producing the blocks and managing all the blockchain stuff. And then we have a worker system similar to Dash. So in BitShares, you can apply for funding and you need to rally for the whole community, because who has the power in BitShares? It's a user. It's everybody who holds BitShares has a vote. 1 BitShares is 1 vote. And then in this way, you can really support and grow the platform in the direction you like. So this is really awesome. And the good thing is we have proxies. If you don't want to participate in voting, you don't want to read all the different proposals, you don't want to compare all the different witnesses, set a proxy. The same actually for Steemit. You can set a proxy in Steem if you don't want to read all these different witness reports, and they will vote for you. So this is quite an easy way how to govern a platform. And the big question is, if you yourself ask yourself, I want to be part of this governance part. I want to be a witness. What should I do? Well, the first question is, do you want to vote yourself, or do you want to give it to a proxy, right? Who could be a suitable proxy to vote for you in your name? So it's like a major governor. So you have that. And then you really have to compare the different proposals to say like, okay, we want to go this direction. So for example, there could be a proposal in Steem to say, I like this new logo, we should go this logo, or we should go that way. And this way, you as a user, you really have something unique. You have a vote, you have something to say, and people are listening to you. And I think that is a big difference to all Bitcoin and Ethereum, where you really have nothing to say. What I also like in BitShares is that we have regular updates, but what I'm really missing, and I'm looking forward to that, is we have not yet a good governance for witnesses. Steem is awesome in this way. We have so many reports about witnesses being reliable. You know, people are analyzing, do you provide a good feed? Do you do a good job, dear witness? There's every day, there are weeks, there are updates, there are reports, there are analysis, and people respond, they debate about it. And this is an awesome culture to keep people responsible, because the witnesses, the top 20 witnesses in Steem, are keeping the platform alive. And if they do a bad job, you need to vote them out. So you need to participate, right? This is very important. In Steem, in BitShares, we also have the so-called worker system. I think that is a great way. Here, for example, we have a worker that is just working right now. It is to upgrade the current user interface. And it is governed by the blockchain. We vote for that, we pay for that, we pay that money out of our own pockets in the BitShares ecosystem. And we have escrow partners, we have rules how to use that money. And we can, every time, if Bill Butler is doing something wrong, we can vote him out and say like, sorry, you know, please fix what you did so that we can give you money again and continue to provide value. And this is how it looks. This is a new feature that they built. This is a way how you can participate in the governance of BitShares. You can vote for workers, you can vote for committee members, and you can vote for witnesses. And here I have an overview about the top users, about the top people. And they're all people behind. This is a beautiful thing. And they all have to rally. They all have to talk about what they are doing to be elected. Otherwise, they have nothing to say. So I really like that part that everybody can participate. And I would like to take this chance, because I'm a committee member in BitShares, I would like to also introduce a project that I'm working on beginning of this summer. I started this summer, and what I've built the last couple of weeks in BitShares is a completely new website, because I think BitShares has a lack. It's a very complex technology, but it lacks the way how to communicate what it's really doing. So this summer, I was working on building a new website for BitShares, to introducing use cases and talking to a specific key audience. What is the BitShares platform? And what I'm doing with that is I'm providing value and I'm collecting votes, because as a committee member, I only live from the votes. This is the homepage, the landing page. This is how it look like. But we also have a second page where we're going to talk about the blockchain itself, how is it working, and what are the benefits, why you should use BitShares, why you should build your product on top of that blockchain. So that's going to be going live by the end of the year. I'm very excited about it. And that's going to be a really cool platform to get information about this amazing technology and about this really cool blockchain. Because at the end, if you want to participate, if you want to be part of a blockchain governance, what do you have to do? You have to create value, you have to speak up, you have to promote your platform, and you have to collect votes. And I think this is something really unique that only graphene chains have. Steemit, BitShares, EOS going to have it. Also, Decent, we just saw before, all of these platforms have the same structure. The power is with the people, and I think that is quite an amazing thing. And at the end, when we talk about governance, governance is made by the people, and it's critical to accelerate mainstream adoption of blockchain technologies. Because if you don't have a good governance system, we are not flexible enough, and we're not flexible to onboard more people. And I think also Steemit has right now the big challenge coming up with scaling. I mean, we have almost 500,000 people by the end of the year, 500,000 people on Steem. Steem is probably one of the biggest platforms in terms of users in the whole blockchain industry. And when they want to grow, they need good governance, and I'm very happy to see the active witness report, the active community, and all the amazing people who are helping to grow Steemit. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm going to be around all the time. And if you're on BitShares, I'm happy about your votes. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
I'll throw it out there. What are your thoughts as far as the challenge? I mean, you covered some of this, but it's such a decentralized thing.
Yes.
They want stuff to happen. And they feel like, no one can stand up, take the mic, and be like, I'm the leader to tell you what we're going to do now. And so that conflict between wanting full decentralization, but also needing direction, vision, leadership in a way that's voluntary.
Well, I see, well, the thing is what we experience with BitShares. BitShares is a very old blockchain. It's around since 5 years in different versions. And when Daniel left BitShares in the spring, it was, I think, March 16, he left the BitShares platform to build Steemit, and then Steemit launched in May. BitShares fall into a hole because there was no central team anymore. There was nobody who would push the whole platform forward. But I call it a Satoshi Nakamoto moment. It's a pivot moment for the BitShares economy and for the blockchain, for the community, because that means if there is no central team, there is no Vitalik who's managing the whole thing, the community has to step up, and people from the community have to come. And BitShares showed that it takes a while, it took us a year to get there, but now we see massive new projects coming up, new websites, new explorers are coming up, the interface is reworked, the worker proposals are coming up. We needed a time to develop it, and I think, yes, it's possible to have a completely decentralized community, but it always starts with the people. And you yourself, if you want to have change, you need to do it yourself. It doesn't help if you just sit there and think, oh, it would be so great if something would change. Man, I would like to see this new logo in Steam, and what should I do? And maybe somebody should do it. Well, if you don't do it yourself, it will never happen. This is a core lesson you have to take. More questions? Please.
What do you see happening when EOS comes out with BitShares? How do you think it's going to be impacted?
Well, I think there's a couple of things we could do as a BitShares community. We are still decentralized, right? There is no core team who makes the decisions. So we really have to basically vote. We have to put up a vote as a committee or as a community, reach a consensus. This is really interesting. We always try to figure out, okay, should we change the name of BitShares as a current discussion? How do we find consensus here? Well, we have to actually put up a worker and say, like, do we want it or yes or no? And then the proxies have to talk to all the different people and ask all their supporters, hey, what do you think? Should I vote yes or no? And if the proxies are making the wrong decision, well, sorry, you have to remove your vote. So it's a little bit tricky to find consensus here. But in the question on the rise of EOS, technically it's possible to immigrate BitShares to EOS. It's a question if we want it, and what do we gain from that? It's the same. I mean, Steemit, I don't know if we talk about it yet, but Steem and Steemit could be also built on EOS. Very simple. The problem is you have to rebuild everything. So every little order, every little command, every transaction that you have in the backlog, in the APIs, you have to rebuild it all on EOS. So it takes you a lot of money and a lot of time to do it, but you maybe profit from the synergies from EOS. So I think we first have to see when EOS is launching, what it can really do, what are the benefits, what kind of companies they can attract. I think EOS is quite interesting because they have very deep pockets. I mean, maybe you saw the last recent quotes from Brandon. They have more than $1 billion in capital sitting in the bank to fund and promote EOS. And they're not going to build BitShares, they're not going to build Steemit. That's not what they do. They said they're not going to build these kind of applications. They only build the back layer. So they have a lot of money to do stuff.
I heard they're going to call BitShares and change to BEOS.
Yeah, there are these discussions, but I'm not really a big fan of it.
Right, okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.